The small blue alien pressed his three-fingered hand against the communication panel. His name was Kale, and he was scared. Very scared. Around him, other aliens ran back and forth in the control room. They were all blue-skinned like him, with large, gentle eyes and no weapons. The Zelani people had never needed weapons before today. "Sir, the enemy ships are only 2 days away," said his assistant, a female named Vera. Her voice shook as she spoke. "They destroyed the colony on Nexus 7 completely. Nothing is left." Kale looked at the screen showing their star system. Red dots marked where the enemy was coming from. The Vorthic swarm had already eaten 3 of their worlds. Billions of Cylani were dead. Soon they would reach the home world of Zephyr Prime, where 12 billion more peaceful people lived. "How many enemy ships?" Kale asked. "Our scouts counted over 300 before they were destroyed," Vera replied. "Each ship is the size of a small moon. They carry millions of those bug creatures." Kale closed his eyes. The Zelani Federation had only 46 small defense ships. Their weapons were meant to clear space rocks, not fight wars. The Zelani had never fought a war. They grew food, made art, and studied the stars. They helped sick animals and taught their children to be kind. Vorthic were different. They were giant bug-like creatures that lived in huge ships made of living metal. They ate everything. Plants, animals, buildings, even the dirt. When they finished with a world, only bare rock remained. No life, no hope. "Send the message to all nearby star systems," Kale ordered. "Ask for help. Ask anyone who will listen." Vera nodded and began typing. "What should I say?" Kale thought for a moment. "Tell them we are peaceful people. Tell them we have never hurt anyone. Tell them the Vorthic swarm will kill us all unless someone helps us. Give them our location. Tell them we will be grateful forever." The message was sent across space using their strongest transmitters. It would reach dozens of star systems where other alien races lived. Maybe someone would care. Maybe someone would help. Kale did not have much hope, but he had to try. Far away, on a blue and green world called Earth, a human named Jake Morrison was working the night shift. Jake was a communications officer at Deep Space Array 7. His job was to listen for signals from space. Most nights, he heard nothing but static and cosmic noise. Tonight was different. Jake sat up straight when his computer started beeping. A signal was coming from deep space. It was not random noise. It was a message. An alien message. "Holy crap," Jake whispered. He had been waiting his whole career for this moment. First contact with aliens. Jake recorded the signal and ran it through the translation computers. The message was in several alien languages, but one part was in broken English. Someone out there had learned some human words. The message made Jake's blood run cold. Peaceful aliens were asking for help. They were being attacked by something called the Vorthic swarm. They were going to die unless someone saved them. Jake grabbed his phone and called his boss, Admiral Lisa Carter. She was asleep at her home, but this could not wait. "Admiral Carter speaking," came a tired voice. "Ma'am, this is Morrison at Array 7. We have a situation. A big one." "What kind of situation, Morrison?" "We just received a distress call from aliens, ma'am. Real aliens. They are under attack and asking for help." There was silence for a long moment. Then Admiral Carter spoke in a very different voice. Wide awake and serious. "Send me everything immediately. I will be there in 20 minutes. And Morrison." "Yes, Mom?" "Do not tell anyone else about this yet. This is now classified at the highest level." Jake sent the files and waited. 20 minutes later, Admiral Carter walked into the communication center. She was a tall woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had been in the military for 30 years and had seen everything. But today, Her hands shook a little as she read the alien message. "How far away are they?" she asked. "About 600 light years, ma'am, in the Kepler 442 system." Admiral Carter studied the message again. The aliens described creatures that ate entire worlds. Billions of peaceful people were about to die. She thought about her own children sleeping safely at home. She thought about what it would be like if Earth was being attacked and no one would help. "Get me President Brooks on the secure line," she ordered. "Within an hour, the most important." People on Earth were in an emergency meeting. President Helen Brooks sat at the head of a long table. Around her were Admiral Carter, General Paul Watson, who commanded the Army, and Dr. Nancy Reed, who advised on alien matters. "Let me understand." "This," President Brooks said. "Aliens sent us a message asking for help. They are being attacked by other aliens who want to eat them." "That is correct, Madam President," Admiral Carter replied. "The attacking force sounds massive. Hundreds of ships. Millions of hostile creatures." General Watson frowned. "How do we know this is real? It could be a trick." Dr. Reed shook her head. "The signal analysis shows it is genuine. The fear in the transmission is real. These people are terrified. What are our options?" The President asked. Admiral Carter straightened in her chair. "We can ignore the message and pretend we never heard it. Or we can send help." "Send help?" General Watson looked shocked. "We have never fought aliens before. We do not know what we are facing. We know they are bullies who attack peaceful people," Admiral Carter said firmly. "We know they eat entire worlds. We know they will not stop with these Zilani aliens." President Brooks was quiet for a long time. She thought about what made humans special. Humans fought wars, yes, but they also protected the weak. They stood up to bullies. They helped people who could not help themselves. "If we send help, how much help can we send?" she asked. Admiral Carter smiled for the first time that night. "Everything, Madam President. The entire Earth Defense Fleet. Every ship, every weapon, every Marine. We show these Vorthic creatures what happens when they pick on innocent people." "That could expose Earth's location to hostile aliens," General Watson warned. "Then we make sure there are no hostile aliens left to tell anyone." Admiral Carter replied coldly. President Brooks made her decision. "Admiral Carter, you have permission to mobilize the full fleet. Save those people. Show the galaxy that Earth protects the innocent." Admiral Carter stood and saluted. "Yes, Madam President." The Vorthic swarm is about to learn why Earth is called a death world. As the meeting ended, emergency orders went out. Across Earth, the largest war fleet in human history began to prepare for launch. In space stations around Earth and Mars, crews rushed to load weapons and supplies. Marines checked their equipment. Ship captains studied star charts. The aliens had asked for help. The Deathworlders were coming. Admiral Lisa Carter stood on the bridge of the Eds, Vengeance, and watched the largest war fleet in human history prepare for battle. Through the massive windows, she could see hundreds of warships floating in space around Earth. Each ship was loaded with enough weapons to destroy a city. Together, they could crack planets. The Vengeance was the biggest ship ever built by humans. It was over 1 kilometer long and carried 3,000 crew members. Its hull was black metal that could survive flying through a star. Its weapons could punch holes through moons. Captain Danny Rodriguez commanded the great ship under Admiral Carter's orders. "Admiral, all ships report ready for jump," said Lieutenant Sophie Adams from her position at the tactical station. Sophie was young, but very smart. She knew every weapon on every ship in the fleet. "How many ships do we have total?" Admiral Carter asked. 12 dreadnoughts, like the Vengeance, 46 heavy cruisers, 92 destroyers, and 200 support ships, Sophie replied. We also have 30,000 Marines ready for ground fighting. Commander Billy Thompson looked up from his engineering station. Billy was responsible for keeping all the ship's systems working. He was the best engineer in the fleet. All reactors are running at full power, Admiral. Jump drives are charged and ready. Admiral Carter nodded. The human fleet was ready to travel 600 light years in a matter of hours. Their jump drives could fold space and time, letting them cross vast distances quickly. It was technology that most alien races did not have. Down in the marine sections of the ships, Colonel Frank Miller was giving final orders to his soldiers. Frank was a big man with scars on his face from many battles. He had fought in wars on Earth and in the asteroid colonies. His Marines trusted him completely. "Listen up," Frank told his soldiers. "We are going to fight aliens who eat entire worlds. They have never faced humans before. They do not know what we can do. Show them." The Marines cheered. They wore thick armor that could stop bullets and energy beams. They carried rifles that could punch through tank armor. Some carried rocket launchers. Others had flamethrowers. All of them were ready to fight Dot in the medical bays. Dr. Amy Parker was preparing for the worst. Amy was the chief doctor for the fleet. She had supplies to treat thousands of wounded soldiers. She also had teams ready to help any alien civilians they might find. "We do not know what alien biology is like," Amy told her medical staff. "Be ready for anything. Our job is to save lives, both human and alien." Captain Rodriguez walked through the halls of the Vengeance, checking on his crew. Everyone was nervous but excited. This was humanity's first war against aliens. No one knew what to expect Dot in the weapon bays. Crews loaded the massive guns. The Vengeance carried railguns that could fire metal slugs at nearly the speed of light. It had plasma cannons that could melt through any armor. It carried nuclear missiles that could destroy entire fleets. Every weapon was designed to kill efficiently. "Sir, we are receiving new intelligence from our scouts," Lieutenant Adams reported. "The Vorthic swarm is bigger than we thought." Admiral Carter frowned. "How much bigger?" "Over 500 ships, ma'am. Each one is the size of a small moon. Our computers estimate they carry over 10 billion hostile creatures." The bridge crew was quiet for a moment. 10 billion enemies was a very large number. But humans had faced bad odds before. "Any word from the Zalani?" Admiral Carter asked. "Yes, ma'am. They sent another message. The Vorthic have reached their outer colonies. 2 more worlds have been completely destroyed. The aliens are begging us to hurry." Admiral Carter felt anger growing in her chest. While they prepared their fleet, innocent people were dying. Children were being killed by monsters. She would not let that continue. "All ships, this is Admiral Carter," she announced over the fleet communication system. "We are about to make the longest jump in human history. We are going to save people we have never met from creatures that want to eat them. Some of you are scared. That is normal. But remember this. We are humans. We protect the innocent. We destroy those who hurt the weak. Today, we show the galaxy what Earth is capable of." Captain Rodriguez gave the order. "All ships prepare for hyperspace jump." Across the fleet, jump drives powered up. Space around each ship began to bend and twist. Reality itself was being folded to allow the ships to travel faster than light. "Jump drive at full power," Commander Thompson reported. "All ships report ready," Lieutenant Adams added. Admiral Carter took a deep breath. "Execute jump." The stars disappeared. The human fleet vanished from Earth space and began traveling through hyperspace toward the Zalani Federation. Inside the ships, crews felt the strange sensation of moving through folded space. Time moved differently in hyperspace. Minutes felt like hours. While they traveled, Admiral Carter studied everything they knew about their enemies. The Vorthik were insects that grew to be 8 feet tall. They had sharp claws and acid for blood. They lived in hive ships made of living metal that could heal itself. They had been eating worlds for thousands of years. But the Vorthik had never fought humans before. They did not know that humans came from a death world where everything tried to kill them. They did not know that humans had been fighting wars for their entire history. They did not know that when humans decided to protect someone, they would fight to the death to do it. "Admiral, we are detecting massive energy signatures ahead," Lieutenant Adams reported. "We are almost at the Zelani system." "Battle stations," Admiral Carter ordered. "All crews to combat positions." Throughout the fleet, alarms sounded. Soldiers ran to their posts. Weapons powered up. Shield generators came online. The human war machine was ready for battle. Captain Rodriguez stood beside Admiral Carter as they prepared to drop out of hyperspace. "Orders, Admiral. When we arrive, assess the situation quickly. If the Vorthik are attacking civilians, we engage immediately. No warnings. No mercy." "Understood, ma'am." The Vengeance shuddered as it prepared to return to normal space. Through the hyperspace tunnel, they could see distant stars getting brighter. They were almost there. "Dropping out of hyperspace in 10 seconds, Commander Thompson announced. Admiral Carter gripped her command chair. "All ships prepare for combat. Remember, we are here to save lives and destroy monsters. Let's show these bugs what happens when they threaten innocent people." The human fleet burst out of hyperspace at the edge of the Zelani system. What they saw made even the experienced warriors gasp in shock. The space around the alien homeworld was filled with massive organic ships that looked like giant insects. Smaller ships swarmed around the planet like angry bees. The Vorthik swarm had arrived first. The battle for the Zelani Federation was about to begin. The human fleet appeared at the edge of the Zelani system like angry ghosts materializing from the void. Admiral Carter stood on the bridge of the Vengeance and watched the horror unfolding before them. The blue-green world of Zephyr Prime was surrounded by hundreds of massive ships that looked like giant insects made of dark metal. "My God," whispered Lieutenant Adams. "Look at the size of those things." The Vorthik hive ships were enormous. Each one was the size of a small moon, covered in spikes and organic armor that pulsed like a beating heart. Smaller ships swarmed around them like angry wasps. Below, the planet's surface showed bright flashes where cities were being destroyed. "Admiral, we are receiving a transmission from the planet," reported the communications officer. "It is from Ambassador Kale of the Zelani." "Put him on screen," Admiral Carter ordered. The main screen showed a blue-skinned alien with large, gentle eyes. He looked terrified but hopeful. Behind him, other aliens ran back and forth in panic. "Please," Kale begged, "are you here to help us? The Vorthik are destroying our cities. Millions are already dead." Admiral Carter stepped forward. "Ambassador Kale, this is Admiral Lisa Carter of the Earth Defense Fleet. We received your message. We are here to help." Kale's eyes went wide with amazement. "Earth Defense Fleet? You came from the Death World? But the galaxy says humans are dangerous." "We are dangerous," Admiral Carter replied coldly, "but only to those who hurt innocent people." "Captain." Rodriguez moved to the tactical station. "Admiral, the Vorthik ships are massive, but they move slowly. Their smaller ships are faster, but lightly armed. I recommend we hit them hard and fast." Admiral Carter opened a channel to all human ships. "All vessels, this is Admiral Carter. We have a job to do. Those bug ships down there are killing innocent people. We are going to stop them. All ships, weapons free. Engage at will." The response from the fleet was immediate. "Roger that, Admiral. Time to squash some bugs." Admiral Carter then opened a channel on all frequencies. broadcasting to both the Zelani and the Vorthik. Her voice was calm, but deadly serious. "This is Admiral Lisa Carter of the Earth Defense Fleet, Zelani Federation. We have received your distress call, and we are here to help. Vorthik Swarm, you have attacked peaceful people who meant you no harm. You have exactly 60 seconds to withdraw from this system or face the consequences." On the Vorthik Hive ships, the bug creatures received the transmission with confusion. The hive mind had never encountered resistance. It could not simply crush. These new ships were small compared to their own massive vessels. The Vorthik decided to ignore the warning and continue their attack on the planet Dot. It was the last mistake they would ever make. 60 seconds are up, Admiral Carter announced. "All ships, light them up." The human fleet opened fire with a coordinated barrage that turned space into a hellscape of destruction. The Vengeance fired its main rail guns, sending metal slugs the size of cars flying at nearly the speed of light. The projectiles punched through the largest Vorthik Hive ship like it was made of paper. Plasma cannons from the heavy cruisers created rivers of superheated gas that melted through organic armor. Nuclear missiles from the destroyers detonated in brilliant flashes, vaporizing entire swarms of smaller Vorthik ships. "Direct hit on Hive Ship Alpha," Lieutenant Adams reported with excitement. "Their hull is breached in multiple sections." "Good," Admiral Carter replied. "Target their weapon systems next." The Vorthik tried to fight back. Their ships fired bioplasma that could melt most metals. But human ships were built to survive in space around Earth, where solar radiation and cosmic storms would destroy weaker vessels. The bioplasma splashed harmlessly against their shields. Captain Rodriguez coordinated the attack with military precision. "Cruiser Group 2, target the ships attacking the planet. Destroyer Squadron 5, protect our flanks. Marine transports, prepare for boarding operations." The human ships moved in perfect formation, like a school of metal sharks hunting much larger prey. Every shot was calculated for maximum damage. Every movement was planned to avoid enemy fire while dealing death. Commander Thompson monitored the ship's systems. "All weapons operating at full capacity, Captain. Shield strength at 95%. The bugs can barely scratch us." Down in the Marine bays, Colonel Miller was preparing his soldiers for something no human had ever done before: board an alien warship during combat. "Remember your training," Frank told his Marines. "These bugs are 8 feet tall with claws and acid blood, but they have never fought humans before. They do not know how mean we can be when we are angry." The Marines laughed grimly. They were about to teach the galaxy why humans were feared across the stars. Dr. Amy Parker watched the battle from the medical bay while preparing to treat wounded. "How are we doing out there?" she asked a nearby officer. "We are winning, ma'am. The bugs do not stand a chance." On the planet below, Ambassador Kale watched the space battle with amazement. The human ships were so much smaller than the Vorthik vessels, but they fought with deadly efficiency. Every human shot found its target. Every movement was perfect. "How are they so good at fighting?" asked his assistant Vera. "They come from a death world," Kale replied quietly. "Everything on their planet tries to kill them. They have been fighting their entire history. We asked for help and got apex predators. The battle raged for hours. The Vorthik, despite their massive size and numbers, found themselves being systematically destroyed. The human weapons were designed to kill efficiently. Their tactics were flawless. Their ships could survive damage that would cripple other vessels. One by one, the great hive ships began to fall. Their organic armor cracked under the relentless human assault. Their weapon systems were destroyed by precise targeting. Their smaller ships were swept away like leaves in a hurricane. "Admiral, the largest hive ship is trying to retreat," Lieutenant Adams reported. Admiral Carter's eyes were cold as winter. I do not think so. All ships target the retreating vessel. No survivors. These creatures must never threaten innocent people again. The combined firepower of the human fleet focused on the fleeing hive ship. Nuclear missiles and plasma beams converged on the massive vessel. In a brilliant explosion that lit up the entire system, the ship was completely destroyed. As the smoke cleared, the remaining Vorthik ships tried desperately to escape. But the human fleet was faster and more maneuverable. Captain Rodriguez led the pursuit with ruthless efficiency. "This is for all the innocent people you killed," he muttered as his ship's weapons tore apart another enemy vessel. Ambassador Kale could barely believe what he was seeing. The terrifying Vorthik swarm that had destroyed 3 worlds was being completely defeated by ships from the legendary Deathworld. "Send a message to all Zilani survivors," Kale ordered. "Tell them the humans have saved us. The nightmare is over." But even as victory was assured, Admiral Carter knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy was about to learn that Earth's children protected the innocent and destroyed those who preyed on the weak. The last Vorthik hive ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light that could be seen from the planet's surface. Admiral Carter watched from the bridge of the Vengeance as pieces of the massive alien vessel scattered across space like burning meteors. The battle had lasted 18 hours. Now it was over. "All enemy ships destroyed, Admiral," Lieutenant Adams reported. "No Vorthik vessels escaped." Captain Rodriguez wiped sweat from his forehead. His crew had fought without rest, but they had won completely. "Casualty report?" 17 humans wounded, none killed," Adams replied. "Ship damage is minimal across the fleet." Admiral Carter nodded with satisfaction. The human fleet had destroyed hundreds of alien warships and killed billions of hostile creatures while losing no one. It was the most one-sided victory in military history. Down on the planet, Ambassador Kale stood in the ruins of his command center and stared at the sky. The space above his world, which had been filled with terrifying enemy ships just hours ago, was now clear except for the sleek human vessels. His people were safe. "Sir, we are receiving a transmission from the human fleet," said Vera, his assistant. Admiral Carter's face appeared on the screen. She looked tired but determined. "Ambassador Kale, this is Admiral Carter. The Vorthik threat has been eliminated. We are sending medical teams and supplies to help your people." Kale felt tears in his large eyes. "Admiral, we cannot thank you enough. You saved our entire species." "That is what we do," Admiral Carter replied simply. "We protect those who cannot protect themselves." Within hours, human ships began landing on Zephyr Prime. Dr. Amy Parker led medical teams that set up hospitals to treat wounded Zilani civilians. The human doctors worked alongside Zilani physicians, learning about alien biology while saving lives. "Their blood is copper-based instead of iron-based," Dr. Parker explained to her staff. "But their organs work similarly to ours. We can help them." Commander Billy Thompson brought engineering teams to rebuild damaged power stations and communication systems. The humans worked with incredible efficiency, their machines repairing in hours what would have taken the Zilani weeks to fix. Colonel Frank Miller and his Marines searched the ruins of destroyed cities for survivors. The big soldier was surprisingly gentle as he carried injured Zilani civilians to safety. His Marines gave their own food rations to hungry alien children. "Why are they being so kind?" asked a young Zilani girl as a human Marine bandaged her injured arm. "Because that is what good people do," her mother replied softly. Captain Rodriguez personally oversaw the distribution of supplies from the human ships. Food, medicine, building materials, everything the Zilani needed to rebuild their world. The humans asked for nothing in return. Ambassador Kale walked through the relief operations with amazement. These creatures from the feared Deathworld were not the monsters the galaxy believed them to be. They were protectors. They were heroes. Admiral Carter, Kale said when he met her at the main relief station. My people will never forget what you have done for us. Admiral Carter looked around at the humans and aliens working together. We did what was right. Evil cannot be allowed to win. But why did you risk so much for people you had never met? Kale asked. Admiral Carter was quiet for a moment. On our world, we have a saying. All that is necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. We could not do nothing. As the relief efforts continued, news of the battle spread across the galaxy. Other alien races learned that the peaceful Zelani had been saved by the mysterious humans from Earth. The story grew with each telling. The Vorthic swarm, which had terrorized the galaxy for thousands of years, had been completely destroyed in a single day. Not one of their ships escaped. Not one of their creatures survived. Some alien species were grateful that the threat was gone. Others were terrified of the humans who had won so easily. The human fleet was small compared to the Vorthic swarm, but they had fought with such skill and power that it seemed impossible. Dr. Parker finished treating the last of the seriously wounded Zelani. All critical patients are stable, Admiral. We have saved everyone we could. Good work, Doctor, Admiral Carter replied. How many Zelani did we lose? The Vorthic killed approximately 50 million before we arrived, Dr. Parker said sadly. But we saved over 11 billion. It could have been much worse. Admiral Carter felt anger at the senseless loss of life. The Vorthic had killed so many innocent people for no reason except hunger. They deserved the destruction they received. Commander Thompson approached with his engineering report. All major infrastructure is repaired or rebuilding, Admiral. The Zelani should be able to take care of themselves from here. Excellent work, Commander. Colonel Miller joined them with his Marines. All survivors have been found and evacuated to safe areas, Admiral. The cities are secure. Thank you, Colonel. Your Marines did outstanding work. As the human fleet prepared to leave, Ambassador Kale called an emergency meeting of all surviving Zelani leaders. They had an important decision to make. We must warn the galaxy about what we have seen, Kale told the assembled leaders. The humans are not monsters. They are protectors. But they are also the most dangerous military force we have ever witnessed. The Zelani leaders agreed. They composed a message that would be sent to every known alien civilization in the galaxy. Admiral Carter received a copy of the message before the human fleet departed. She read it with interest. To all civilized species in the galaxy. This is Ambassador Kale of the Zelani Federation. We called for help when the Vorthic swarm threatened to destroy us. We expected other peaceful races to send what aid they could spare. Instead, warriors came from the death world called Earth. Humans brought their entire military fleet to save people they had never met. They destroyed the Vorthic completely while asking for nothing in return. They then helped us rebuild with their own supplies and labor. We now understand why the galaxy fears Earth. Humans are not monsters, but they are the monsters that monsters fear. They fight not for conquest, but for justice. They kill not for pleasure, but to protect the innocent. Any who threaten peaceful people will face the full wrath of the Death World's children. Earth remembers its friends and destroys its enemies. Choose wisely which you wish to be. Admiral Carter smiled as she finished reading. The message was honest and would serve as both a thank you and a warning to the galaxy. All ships, prepare for jump to Earth, she announced to the fleet. Mission accomplished. As the human fleet departed Zelani space, they left behind a small patrol group of 6 destroyers. The message was clear. Earth would continue to protect the Zelani Federation. The ships entered hyperspace and began the long journey home. Behind them, the Zelani began rebuilding their world with hope in their hearts. They knew that somewhere among the stars, the humans of Earth watched over them. The galaxy would never be the same. Everyone now knew that the Deathworld's children protected the innocent and destroyed those who preyed upon the weak.